NMDC Spotlight Podcast.
Hi, and welcome back to NMDC Spotlight Podcast. Today I'm joined by Dr. Mouad Lambarki, the Geotechnical Survey Director at NMDC Dredging Marine. He'll be telling us about his impressive career, the role of his team in our projects, and how sustainability and technology shape the way they work. Hi, Dr. Mouad. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Umna. It's my pleasure to be with you here today, and it's my pleasure here to give a feedback about myself, about my team, to your listener, to NMDC audience.
Pleasure's all mine. Before we dive in, I'd like to know a little bit about you. Can you tell me what first drew you into the world of geotechnical engineering and surveying?
Yes, this is a long journey. Actually, it fascinates me how the large marine and civil structures interact with soil and water, and this has fascinated me and drawn me to the impact of soil and seabed and ground on the interface between this structure and the soil. And
Was that during your education, maybe?
Yes, when I graduated or I did my school, I finished my school, I went to study, and I was actually planning to study something related to civil engineering and also the interaction between structures and ground, which is called geotechnical engineering.
Yes. So you started from your bachelor's and then continued?
No, when I finished my high school, I went to Germany and I started directly master studies called engineering study. So there was no bachelor and master in Germany at that time. So I studied geotechnical and mining engineering. Actually, I'm both mining engineer and geotechnical engineer.
What did you struggle with when you first started out? What were your challenges?
The challenges is always because geotechnical engineering is difficult to predict, or soil mechanics is actually based on a lot of interpretation, a lot of assumptions, and it requires a lot of experience and a lot of experiment to understand it and interpret it. So this is really the biggest challenge in dealing with soil and geology in general, and the unpredictability of these elements related to the structure, related to infrastructure, related to artificial island, on any marine or coastal infrastructure.
You deal with a lot of data.
Yes, of course. Yes, yeah. You need a lot of we call it borrow information or survey information to be able to interpret the soil information, to use it in your models for production or for reclamation, and also to understand how, when we reclaimed, how these will interact with the structure, and what is the requirement to be able to construct on top of these structures. Let's say if we make an artificial island, we need to study the soil itself and then understand what bearing capacity, what kind of structure we can put in on it, and if we require additional measure to be able to construct villas or high-rise buildings, whatever, we need to do additional ground improvement to be able to achieve these requirements.
Okay, I'm going to take just a tiny step back. Can you explain your role to us, to somebody who is not in the field?
Geotechnical engineering is dealing with actually the soil and the ground in relation to any infrastructure or structure.
Yes.
So anything related or anything from the ground and below is related to geotechnical engineering. So when you construct a villa, you need to understand where you're going to construct a villa, on which ground, and if this ground is safe to build on it. If it's not safe, you need to put additional measure to be able to construct it.
Something like that, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. If you find that the ground is not ready, what are the steps that you take?
If the ground is not ready, there are many measures. First, we need the data, as you said. So we need to investigate how the ground is it at the moment. Yes, and then we understand what's going to be built on top of it. So what kind of structure, and based on that, we improve. We design additional improvement or additional measures to be able to construct on it.
Makes sense. Okay. How long have you been with DNM?
I've been with NMDC since 2010.
Very good.
Actually, I joined NMDC when NMDC just started the Upper Zakum Artificial Island.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell us a little bit about that project. It's one of the major ones.
Yes. Actually, when the NMDC at that time got the project, that was one of the first large projects in an active oil field. And NMDC required a lot of expertise in different fields to be able to face the challenge and also make it happen, the project. So I met Engineer Yasser in a meeting. I was actually subcontractor of NMDC at that time. We were working in an artificial island here, doing the ground improvement for NMDC. It was an island called Eco Island. I think the name now has changed. It's somewhere in Saadiyat. And Engineer Yasser asked me, we got a large project, you want to join us? So I said, of course. It's very challenging and
maybe an exciting prospect at the
yes,
time, a big project
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
So I joined and with other teams, so we started building, let's say, the team. So my plan at that time is to build a ground improvement department, because part of the scope was to do all kind of ground improvement of these artificial islands. So my works mainly related to geotechnical works and the ground improvement works. So we built the team from scratch, actually. So we brought the equipment, we brought the people, and we did the whole ground improvement ourselves, actually, in Upper Zakum.
Fantastic. How many people are in your team now?
The team for geotechnical, we are talking about, with the people on site, around 300 people. Wow. And then with the survey, around 200 people. So we are talking about
fantastic. That's
500 plus team. The piling. We are around 50 people. So it's quite a
huge team,
big team. Yes.
Yeah. And now you've got all the equipment in place and the tech and everything you built from the ground up.
Actually, we keep growing. I mean, when we started the Upper Zakum Island, the scope was ground improvement with a system or a methodology called vibrocompaction.
Okay.
So we target to buy this kind of equipment of vibrocompaction. But we've been moved to other challenges or other projects. We need to use something different than vibrocompaction. So we build the capability of dynamic compaction, dynamic replacement, and then later on we developed the capabilities in piling and jet grouting and cement columns. So we keep actually growing with of course, the growth journey of NMDC, adding additional services and additional capabilities and portfolio within NMDC portfolio.
Vibrocompaction, can you describe what that is?
Look, when we reclaim artificial island, we reclaim it mainly with sand material. Sand is a granular material. You can imagine this is granular. And to improve this kind of sand, this kind of granular material, you need to either vibrate it, shake it. So when you shake it, you can imagine when you are in the beach and you shake it, it's rearranged. We call it rearrange. It's improved. So the density of this sand improved. So later on, they developed, let's say, something called vibrocompaction to be able to improve the density of sand. So we use this methodology, especially if we have deep reclamation. You can do it up to 60 meters, actually, with the vibrocompaction. Wow, okay. The other method for granular material is impacting. So you put a pounder, a load, high load, and then you release it from a height, and then you impact, let's say, the ground. So the impaction, let's say, improve, let's say, the top 5-10 meter of the soil and increase also the density. But all these two methodology all depend on how deep you want to improve. So in artificial island like Upper Zakum, we have to go up to 20 to 25 meter deep. So vibrocompaction was the most effective, cost efficient, and let's say method for the improvement to increase the density and avoid something called liquefaction. Liquefaction is sand. If you go to the beach now and you put sand with water, what will happen, especially if it's not dense, this sand, it fluidize. The sand with water, it will just move.
Float away.
Yeah, especially if you add to that a vibration. So if an earthquake happened, there is vibration, and then
the
you
beach
have
will
water.
disappear.
Yes, and if you have water, and this vibration together with the impact of the water, it creates something called liquefaction. So the material, your sand, liquefy. However, if this sand has a certain density, very high density or medium density to dense, very dense material, it resists to this liquefaction. So you can shake it, you can put water, but still it resists to this liquefaction. Okay. So that's why we need to improve it to avoid liquefaction, especially if you have an earthquake event anywhere, in the Middle East or anywhere else.
Fascinating. Okay. So your team is involved in all dredging and marine projects?
Yeah, the team is involved actually in the whole life cycle of the projects. So from the tendering phase to the project execution phase and the handover phase, because we start actually in studying the project at the tendering phase, giving the right feedback to different team who are needs our feedback for dredging production, for understanding, let's say, design element, understanding from where the sand should come, the borrow areas. It's very important information. So we need to understand.
Of course,
sourcing, we are reclaiming,
as well.
where are the source, where are the sand source of this sand material, for the reclamation material. If we are dredging a kind of channel, is the material suitable, not suitable? If it's not suitable, or how much is suitable, how much is unsuitable. So all this is an input during the tender stage. During the execution stage, we do all the kind of investigation, monitoring during the reclamation. And of course, once the land is created, we do additional investigation and design and do the ground improvement to improve the material to be able to achieve, let's say, the requirement, the project requirement. Okay. We call it performance requirement. And then we hand over it to the clients with a certain quality control and everything. So
that land is now ready.
We are involved in all aspects of the project.
Wonderful. And it's not just dredging and marine, you also work with NMDC Group and the other business units.
Yes, with the creation of NMDC Infra, we moved, because we developed the piling capabilities last 6 years in NMDC. So all this development now has been moved to NMDC Infra because it fits more in NMDC Infra.
The construction part of it?
Yeah, because it's construction projects. It has a lot of foundation works, and all these foundation works require piling, grouting, all the ground engineering aspects, which need to move there. So I'm involved in NMDC Infra, and of course my role in NMDC DNM as Geotechnical Survey Director. And of course also tendering, international office, trying to help international office to deal with kind of anything related to geotechnical risk, because dealing with soil geology, understanding the project requirement require some knowledge here, some expertise. So these need to be also addressed during
the technical experiences with you.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So we work on land and at sea. Is it safe to say that maybe your work with infra is more about land and with DNM at sea?
With the infra is more about foundation. I mean, especially if we're looking now at villas, construction, high-rise building, shoring, we call something shoring, and anything related to infrastructure, tunneling, micro-tunneling. It's all related to geotechnical work. So these all require geotechnical knowledge. If we work for DNM, it's mainly dredging and reclamation, so understanding the source of the material, and the properties, the impact of these properties on the production, the dredging production, and also on the final product of reclamation. And then, of course, designing the ground improvement to resist what I said before, to liquefaction, and also improve to accommodate certain structure, villas or roads or whatever is going to come on top of the reclamation. So there is marine aspects, which is the dredging reclamation, marine dredging aspect, and there is also infrastructure and foundation aspect, which is NMDC Infra.
You spoke about a lot of activities that the team takes care of. How do you ensure that these activities are carried out in an environmentally responsible way?
You're talking about the team now, or talking about...
So all the operations that we do, of course, sustainability and environmental preservation are a part of it.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that?
Yes. Look, environment is very, very important. And dredging works is always considered as kind of environmental disturbance to the marine, let's say, environment. So we try really to understand, of course, by understanding the soil, you understand how we can improve, let's say, our dredging operation to be able to reduce this environmental impact. And of course, there are other aspects related to the byproduct of dredging. So especially in this region, we dredge very often with a cutter suction dredger, and we dredge kind of rock, which is called calcanite or sandstone. So that's the type of rock what we have in this region.
Naturally here.
Our carbonate rock. So by dredging this kind of material, you generate a byproduct called silt, or suspended material in the water, which it's always considered by client and in specification as unsuitable.
Okay.
So we always actually, to address the environment and sustainability, we always try to educate the client to try to beneficially reuse this kind of material in our reclamation. If not in our reclamation, create a kind of environmental compensation lands for mangrove or for mudflats, for other, let's say, species to let them grow. So we did many examples in Abu Dhabi and also in Egypt, which actually improved the situation and beneficially reused this kind of byproducts in different aspects, environmental aspects.
Perfect. So everybody kind of wins. You don't have a lot of waste material left over, and you're still using them for...
Exactly.
Okay, very good. And I also want to ask about the tech that goes into the field. You must have seen a lot of technological advancements in the field recently. What are some of those notable changes?
Well, it's a lot, actually. I mean, when we started, we were using, actually, we're doing all these assessments. We get a lot of geotechnical or survey data, and all these assessments was done actually manually. So with the time, with the growth of NMDC, we developed different digital systems to be able to do the automated interpretation of the data, to be able to do it faster, to understand the risk, and de-risk the project, of course, and de-risk the NMDC at the end.
Is it collection and analysis, both?
Yeah, both, actually both, yes. And with the time, we start also using advanced technologies in our survey. For example, we are using something called unmanned survey vessels.
Yes.
So this is something which part of our development. We moved now to unmanned UVs, unmanned survey vessel underwater, not on
very
the top of water.
impressive.
So we are trying really to use these technologies, either it's digitalization or advanced techniques in our works to make it more faster, more efficient, and also focus at the end only at the interpretation and de-risking the projects. So it's very important. Our field, geotechnical or survey, is understanding the risk at a very early stage and try to address the risk from the beginning, not at the end.
That makes a world of difference, I can imagine, of course. About somebody, let's say you're talking to somebody who wants to enter the field. What skills do you think are very key to somebody who works in geotechnical engineering?
Yeah, geotechnical engineering is, as the civil engineering, so it's required a lot of, not a lot, but you need the basic, let's say, science knowledge. It's very important. Mathematics, physics, and everything. So it's very important. You have to have the passion of dealing with this kind of mechanical equations and understanding the geology, understanding the soil, and the interaction with the structures. It's very important to have this understanding. Plus, I believe is also you need to have the personality to deal with the project. So there are different people. So there are people who are passionate to do modeling or do let's say the work in the office, but there are people who are trying to translate their technical knowledge in operational knowledge, try to implement, let's say, the techniques on site and then get feedback, improve it, and get feedback and continue the improvement on site. So I believe it should to have the passion of the science passion, the general science, mathematics, physics, and soil mechanics, and of course also have the personality to always have be hungry to see the implementation of these techniques on site.
I like that very much. Okay. Now, looking to the future, do you see any big plans for the coming year, for example, or are we entering into some, do we have any new technologies or entering into a new industry or something like that?
Well, the plans is always we developed our, let's say, capabilities together with the NMDC growth journey. So we were actually few people at the beginning, myself, and now, mashallah, we are around 500 people. So it is really a long journey still to do. So our, let's say, developments now is to try to develop a kind of a service for the ground engineering, for the total ground engineering, servicing the whole NMDC group verticals. Okay. So this is something which really my ambition to do is to deal with anything related to geotechnical, piling, ground improvement, survey, is to be not centralized, but to have something maybe
to serve all the different
to serve for infra, for energy, for DNM, and then try to implement it everywhere. So there is a lot of development in digitalization. There is a lot of development in bringing additional equipment. Now we are going international, and we are dealing with different type of soil, type of different challenges in terms of soil structure. So we need to also develop our capabilities to deal with this kind of soil. So I spoke before about the granular material, which mainly happening in this region. We're talking about sand, but once we go in the east and far east, we have a lot of thing called clay. I mean, different type of material, clay, silt. Also in Egypt, we had a lot of this kind of material. So dealing with this kind of material require different technology, different understanding, and also different skills. So this kind of thing we are developing, especially now we got Philippines. So Philippines has something, a new type of ground improvement, which we didn't do here, some called PVDs or perforated vertical drains with surcharge. So these kind of techniques and operation, we're trying to add it to our portfolio and understand it, and then be able to implement it in Philippines and beyond Philippines, maybe tomorrow in India, after tomorrow maybe in other countries.
You spoke about de-risking a project. Can you elaborate what that means?
As I mentioned before, dealing with geology or soil is always related to uncertainties. So there are a lot of uncertainties in interpreting the soil structure. So de-risking project means understanding the soil, the geology, and then try to improve or implement elements at the beginning of the project or even in tender stage to be able to address it, to avoid any delays in, for example, ground improvement, or any additional cost impact in implementing new type of ground improvement which costing much more and taking much more time. So it's very important to keep having the data at the beginning, and then understanding this data in terms of reclamation, dredging, survey, and piling also. So, and then implementing the right measure at the right time to avoid any time or cost impact on a project, which could impact, let's say, the project itself and compact the whole NMDC, let's say, revenues.
That really speaks to the importance of the data at the beginning. And that's why the role of your department is so important, that once you have this data, then it affects the entire project going forward.
Yes. Look, about the data, just I want to mention something that's very important. So we as NMDC, when we start to develop a kind of database to understand the whole Abu Dhabi, maybe UAE, and wherever we work, we develop this kind of historical data knowledge. So we try to understand this information. So alhamdulillah, now we have a large database. So and based on our experience, based on this database, we have, let's say, a kind of cost and let's say advantage in dealing with future projects, especially in Abu Dhabi.
Fantastic. Okay. Now, you've been growing the team for a while. How do you make sure that the team stay upskilled and are always on top of the newest technologies and the knowledge in the field?
Well, this is a very important question, actually, because in our field, we need to keep, let's say, upgrading our skills, because the technology is developing, and it requires a lot of understanding and also understanding new technologies. So when I took over the survey department, we created something called Survey Academy. We found out that we have a lot of people with different background, and we need to, let's say, let them have the same, let's say, understanding of the latest technology, of the latest survey technology. So we created the Survey Academy. We brought a third party, actually, who is teaching us in different, let's say, level of the surveyor, from, let's say, the basic of the survey up to the high standards of the survey, and having, let's say, even something called like a certificate to work in oil field and in different fields. So, and we select one or two very good people, and then we do this something called CAT-B survey certificate for them, and we send them to Netherlands to have this exam and get the certificate. So we are trying really to upscale the knowledge of the people, also in the geotechnical and also in the piling also. So it's always a journey of, having update and upgrade of the knowledge to keep up with the requirement and then implement the latest technology in our field.
We said the education part, the upskilling and Survey Academy. I understand the team also takes part in conferences, and we're part of IADC, so that's part of staying on top of the field, correct?
Yes, it's very important, actually, to have this link between the industry and then sharing, let's say, the information and sharing the knowledge between the industry partner. Either it is in conferences, so we attend a few conferences per year, either in geotechnical or port development or coastal development. And also we are part of IADC. And personally, I'm also having a lot of interaction with academia. I find it very important to have the relationship between academia and industry, especially our industry. I'm currently in advisory board of Khalifa University in civil engineering, and advisory board of New York University also in civil engineering. So we have a lot of, and also Sharjah University. So a lot of interaction. We do something called Geotalk. So we bring some doctor student from the university, and then we
for knowledge sharing,
exchange, let's say, information, understand. Let them understand our challenge, and then try to let them develop maybe something together, how we can improve and then address these challenges, either in soil, foundation, testing, and other things. So this is always a journey of exchange between the academia and the industry to be able to be in the latest standard of the industry and of the knowledge also.
Perfect. That sounds very exciting. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, there's only one more question, and you get to choose the question. There are 3 cards in front of you. Pick one and read the question out loud, and then take your time and answer it. Which one will you pick?
Which one is the best question? So I have to choose one. No?
Yes.
I need my glasses.
Okay.
What advice will you give your team or someone entering the field? Actually, we answered this question. No? So we answered the question before. Yes. So the advice, actually, be patient, try to develop with the team, to understand how you can actually bring your expertise and your knowledge to help NMDC to improve, to grow, and also try to find a mentor who, if you don't know, to find a mentor to help you actually achieving your target, your
goals.
Your goals,
objectives.
yes.
Very good. I have to say that is excellent advice, honestly, to anybody in any department. Thank you so much, Dr. Mouad, for being here with us today and for sharing your insights and experiences. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you very much, Yumna. It was my pleasure, and I hope I could bring a little bit from my insight here to your audience and NMDC audience and share some of my experience within NMDC. It was really a great journey within NMDC, and we should be all very, very proud of what we have achieved, and of course also have the passion to keep growing and keep continuing to improve and be ready for the next journey, because the journey is still long away.
Very well said. Thank you.
Thank you.